Notice my clever psychological trick.
What's up, bro?
Hello, Guru.
All right. Stephen Rambam really needs no introduction, but he's been a fixture. You kind of look like a fixture today. He's got a fever. He's very cranky. I don't blame him. So if he yells at you, that's why. Steve has been at every single Hope conference. Is that correct? Sadly true, he says. And we give him 3 hours because he's kind of runs long in the mouth, but it's all information for 3. No, it's 3 hours of really good information about why privacy is dead. But what's the new title this time? There we go. You read the title, Steve Rambam. I'll get you some sunglasses. No, seriously, we need that, or the cameras won't. Okay. You're on stage. Get used to it.
I literally can't see past the face. Hello. Can you hear me back there? All right, so welcome to everything you've wanted to know about Pokemon. I want to thank Hope for inviting me again. This is the only seminar that I arrange an entire month's schedule around. We are going to be talking in large part today about keeping information open, keeping it from being filtered, helping you to determine how you can get. You think I won't, huh? Oh, now you'll clean them. Great. No, I don't need them. All right, let's get moving. Those of you who have attended my talk before know I do it like a speed freak because, frankly, I both as an investigator and as a citizen that cares about this sort of stuff, I live, eat, and breathe this topic, and it's very tough for me to know what slides to take out. Each slide I take out is like killing a little child. So there are almost always too many slides. Last year, I was shocked. Everyone was shocked. We actually finished it on time for a half-hour Q&A. Got my life threatened during Q&A, but that was okay. So hopefully this year we'll finish on time. Nobody will threaten my life. The addition this year is individuality and talking about bias online, talking about how information is filtered and refiltered before it gets to you. And I have to tell you, this is, frankly, at this point, much more important than privacy. Privacy is really dead. Privacy, there's almost no point talking about it. I'm going to talk about it because some of you, to the extent that I can tell, how many of you have never heard this talk? Holy guacamole. Okay, like a third of the room. All right, well then, it's a good thing I left some of it in. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all to New York. I understand about 80% of you are not from New York, and I want you to know that we are a warm, loving, giving community. I love that everybody laughs and gets the joke. Actually, go to the wrong place and we're a taking community, but I want you all to feel comfortable. I want to ease your mind. You are constantly being protected. First of all, we have thousands of surveillance cameras there only for your safety, only for your safety. These surveillance cameras are fixed, they're mobile, they're at checkpoints, they're at choke points. You will see them everywhere. A lot of them are civilian cameras that have agreed to provide feeds to law enforcement. There are right now 11,000 cameras and growing. In the city, there's about 700,000 cameras. 11,000 of them are linked into law enforcement now. Not just fixed cameras, but helicopters, cars. This chopper right here with that little bubble there can see for 2 miles in any light condition, look into a car. If you're doing something wrong in a car, keep that in mind. New York City, NYPD now has a facial recognition unit, so help me. It's actually what it's called. This is the facial recognition unit. They have a bunch of guys like Adrian Monk doing the photo thing. I just love that photo. But this is actually the facial recognition unit. It's a real thing. There are hundreds of ALPR cameras. If you don't know what an ALPR camera is, you will by the end of this talk. Not only do these cameras go out 24/7, 365 and film license plates, 60,000 per hour, 60,000 per hour, but they keep the data. They share the data with other companies like Vigilant, which we're going to talk about. So far, New York has a buffer of 4 years. So if you forget where you parked your car, not a problem. We can help you out. These are some of the ALPR cameras. They're the rear. Oh, no, this was my favorite part. Okay, well, it doesn't work. It does work? Okay, never mind. I won't mess with it. Anyway, it's the 2 forward-facing cameras on the rear of the vehicle. Now, we are much more honest. We're not like the Philadelphia Police Department. We don't have unmarked vans with a little Google sign on it. Philadelphia Police Department, honest to God, did this. God bless them. I love that. And you can see the little ALPR camera up in the front. But Philly, about 90 days ago, took a bunch of unmarked vans, put Google on them, and started driving around filming everybody. I mean, God bless them. I wish I'd thought of that. You know, we have easy pass readers everywhere, so we know where your car is, even when it's not driving through a bridge or a tunnel. We know where it is. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Puking Monkey for that. Mr. Monkey, we appreciate that. Or if I can call you Puking, you know. Anyway, here's an example. That's one of Puking Monkey's photos over there. 42nd and 8th. This is not one of his photos. This is about a block away from us now. If you look at the little readers, those are Easy Pass readers. And Puking Monkey actually went around with a vehicle and all the hardware necessary to determine that these were Easy Pass readers. We have Link New York City grabbing data off of every phone, whether you've registered with them or not. Link New York City, by the way, is operated by CityBridge. CityBridge, sometimes you have to, like Deep Throat said, you got to follow the money. CityBridge is operated, owned in part by Intersection, and Intersection, of course, major shareholder Google. So as you walk down the street, Google is going, here's Bob. This is what a Link New York City kiosk looks like. You should know this is the coverage of Link New York City, and there's on top of this going to be another 1,700 Link New York City kiosks. What happened? Oh, crap. Oh, okay, there it is. That's this area of Manhattan, and that's exactly this area of Manhattan. Penn Station is right in the middle. So you are covered here. And just so you know, they grab MAC addresses, IP addresses that you check, which websites users visit. This is in their TOS. Where they scroll and click on those websites, how long they stay on them, what they search for. They also grab personally identifiable information according to their privacy policy, which also includes your name, your email address, stuff like that. And, huh? Okay, so let me say 2 things. I don't know, and no heckling during my talk. You got to save it for the Q&A. I would never get through all of this if I responded to people shouting out stuff. I will be here tonight. I'll be here all day tomorrow. If I don't answer it during Q&A, no heckling. The only reason why I'm not going to be covering Link New York City in huge detail is because I actually pay attention to 2600's tweets, and they announced the Link New York City talk is on again. So come back to this room tomorrow at 11 o'clock, this very room, and attend the actual talk on this topic. But Link New York City is a big deal, and it is a very, very good example of where constant, all-pervasive, always present data valence is going. This is a very, very important topic. Go to their talk tomorrow. And just, I don't want you to think we have all this information out there for your protection, that we're not paying attention to it. There's something called the Domain Awareness System, which is the NYPD's, person of interest control room. And these are real pictures from their screens, more real pictures from their screens. This is a real deal. These photos, by the way, are going to be up on the internet. One of them isn't, one of them is. So welcome to New York, where we treat everybody equally. This is actually our mayor being cuffed, which I hope to see happen again in about 2 months during the scandal. And anyway, now get lost. Okay, welcome to the talk. Look, I'm sorry, I couldn't resist. I've been sick for a couple of days. When I'm sick, my mind, you don't want to know about my mind. So, why should you care about this talk? And now we're going to start moving very quickly. First of all, if you are, and by the way, I'm hugely happy to say we have more than 50 investigators and law enforcement at the conference this time. I'm the education chairman of the Fraternal Order of Investigators. It is a no-brainer that law enforcement should come to this conference, not just to learn, but to meet people. Hackers have this horrendously bad image. So do police, unfortunately, right now. And you all need to meet each other. You need to have a little cross-pollination of information. We have 50 people at this event. They're the ones that on their attendee badge have the little radioactive thing in the middle of the O in hope. That's not a joke. We put it on there because there's some FOI-only events, and we knew you'd feel they were radioactive. But this talk, weapons familiarization for law enforcement and security people, this is a critical component of risk management. This cartoon really says it all. In this corner you have routers and hardware and software, and in this corner you have Dave. And it's true. If you can sucker Dave into giving you a password or to circumvent all the security that you've put in, you're in. That's the Mitnick method. So this is very, very important because a lot of what I'm going to be showing you here is social engineering and pretexting stuff. Digital officer safety, there are people out there targeting you. I'm a good PI, most PIs are good PIs. Mike Ehrmantraut is a thing. There are a few Mike Ehrmantrauts out there. So it's an important issue. But, and let me preface this slide by saying something. I say it every hope when I get up here. I'm a little schizophrenic about coming here and giving this talk. On one hand, I'm an investigator. I use this information to do my job better, not, for those of you who know me, not in a nefarious way, not in a privacy invading or intrusive way. I use it to know more about witnesses before I interview them. I use it to help target bad guys, genuinely bad guys. And if they're not bad guys, it helps me find out they're not bad guys. So when I see people sharing their whole lives on Facebook and on Google and posting a gazillion photos and putting up 12-year-old kids' photos that I would never get any other way and that sort of thing, my feeling is, thank you, I appreciate it. You've done me a big favor as an investigator. On the other hand, as a citizen, this nonstop oversharing of data creeps me out. It creeps me out, it bothers me. The vast majority of what you folks share, you don't realize what kind of harm you're doing to yourselves. And we're going to talk about that today. So I'm of two minds. I know if I convince you all to share less, to Facebook less, to Google less, to keep your lives a little private, all right, I'm going to lose a little bit as an investigator, but I think in general I'm going to gain an enormous amount. And the purpose of this talk, more than anything, is to talk to you about what's going on so you can address it. I have very, very strong political views. These political views, I can assure you, are not the same as most of the people in this room. I don't tell people what to think. I hope, tell people a few things to think about, and that's my attitude towards politics. So, why should you care? 3 felonies a day. 3 felonies a day is a book, but it's also a thing. You could be out there breaking the law, doing things you don't even know about, and you're going to get targeted. You're going to get targeted even though you're an innocent good guy. Changed attitudes about dissent. When I was a kid, it used to be the Democrats were the liberal guys, the Republicans were the Nixonian guys, And it really was the way to bet. Now you have 8 years of a Democratic president who has been more repressive, more intrusive than any Republican that came before him, at least in my lifetime. He makes Nixon seem like an amateur. So you need to be aware that dissent is not accepted or appreciated in a lot of quarters these days. For example, the Obama White House asking for email addresses of people who disagreed with some of the stuff they were doing. Operation Choke Point, we're going to talk about that. I mean, types of businesses being targeted. Some of them I understand from a political view, like ammunition sellers, things like that. But first of all, ammunition sellers are not breaking the law. But things like cable box sellers, you'll see the list. Especially, I want you to pay attention, because once you put information out there, you can't change your mind. You've done it under terms of service that you've surrendered that information. You can't get it back. You can't put the genie back in the lamp. Commercial bias. We're going to talk for a second about how even cable companies are now building automated profiles of their subscribers based on their credit bureau stuff and also on their social networking stuff. And they are deciding who to treat nicely during a service call. I mean, they don't treat anybody nicely during a service call, but who to treat, if you can imagine, even worse. You get less time if you're on their blacklist. And a lot of that is from social networking, and I've got the information here. Self-censorship. Look, if you become afraid to post, if you become concerned, what are people going to think? You start censoring your posts. And then eventually, it's an insidious thing, you start censoring the way you think. I can't talk about this. I can't do anything about this. Why even screw with it? And honestly, in my opinion, that's pretty much the end of America. Not to be overly dramatic, not to throw, any more hyperbole out there than I need to, but once you start self-censoring, that's a bad thing for America. Modified news feeds. That's something we're going to talk about. I'm going to give you examples of that. News and information, shh, whoever that is, be quiet. News and information is being fed to you based on who the feeder thinks you are. 61% of the time, that's Facebook. I'm going to show you some stats out there. People are not getting their news through traditional sources anymore. Millennials, 18 to 29, don't watch news on TV all that much anymore. They don't take a paper. I mean, I start my day every day standing up in the kitchen with a cup of coffee and 2 newspapers. That's been bred into me. That's in my DNA. Now, mind you, the New York Times skews stuff. The New York Post skews stuff. Every paper has their bias, but it's becoming more and more and more difficult to get primary source data, to get unfiltered data. And after it's been filtered, it's refiltered by Facebook and Google. The New York Times skews their stories. The New York Post skews their stories. And then on top of that, Facebook decides whether you read the New York Times or the New York Post. We're going to talk about that. Let's talk about Operation Choke Point for a second. Operation Choke Point, this is from the Washington Post, not a particularly extreme newspaper. Operation Choke Point initiative has been shrouded in secrecy, so named because it strangles the providers of financial services to the targeted industries. What that means is, if you are in an industry that the USG doesn't like so much, they pressure banks to not provide you with financial services. Not just banks. PayPal considers private investigation a high-risk industry. I mean, for the PI maybe, but not for anybody else. Ammunition sales, cable boxes, coin dealers, credit cards, credit repair, dating services, escort services, firearms sales. Whatever you feel about these industries, here's the one thing that all of these industries have in common. They're legal. No government should be able to say these services should not be able to effectively do business because we don't like them. It's a problem. It's a problem. U.S. government now they are developing something called a FICO score for trustworthiness. This is a response to Snowden, of course, and to all the little Snowdens out there. And what they're doing is they're looking at your online activity, they're matching it with other stuff they have, and they are giving you a FICO score for trustworthiness. Based on what you do online, you may not get a job. You may be targeted by law enforcement. It can happen. You can have a random idiot handling your file. FBI checks wrong box, places student on no-fly list. Oops. Not a big deal, right? Got cleaned up right away? Not so much. This girl, who's a Stanford student, who to this day has never been convicted or anything, or even really accused of anything other than looking very, very Arabic, which is a problem now too. She was erroneously nominated for the no-fly list. And when she got erroneously nominated, she had to file a lawsuit. And it took her 7.5 years to get off the no-fly list. She could not finish her studies at Stanford. And by the way, did she attend her trial? No, they put her on the no-fly list. But the government admitted it was a mistake. U.S. Marshal Service, this is from a couple of weeks ago. Try to keep you guys up to date with how you're being screwed. Marshals, innocent people placed on watch lists to meet quota. When they decide which innocent people, it's definitely going to be the innocent people talking, I'm dying to say the word, I won't, talking badly about the government. This is a real thing. This is a real thing. So, at least we have laws to protect us, right? I'm a right-wing guy. I am pro-law enforcement. When things start creeping me out, they're really, really bad. Because I'm one of these people that when you say, wait a second, you're invading all the rights, you're abusing all the rights of these ISIS supporters. Good. Keep doing it. That's my attitude. If something bothers me, it's really bad. And this is really bad. The FBI was told by their own bosses, the Department of Justice, they're part of the DOJ. The FBI was told by the U.S. Attorney's Office, you can't do this, you need a warrant. They went, yeah, we're going to do it anyway. So they did it. But of course, we have judges to protect us, right? Not so much. Here's a judge who said, and I don't know who can see what, judge refused to throw out a case because there is no objectively reasonable expectation of privacy for your computing activity in your computer at home. Now, let me tell you, honestly, objectively, to use the word, he's right. You have no expectation of privacy. Everything you do is shared and sold and amalgamated and analyzed. And the truth is, you no longer have any objectively reasonable expectation of privacy. That's a fact. But a judge is not supposed to say that. I'm supposed to say that. A judge is not supposed to say that. Okay, I want you to think about this for a second. Not one single warrant for a wiretap was denied in 2015. For this to be a reasonable statistic, we would have to have perfect law enforcement who never make a mistake, who never say, I have probable cause. I have a reasonable expectation I'm going to find something in the house. This informant who gave me the information on Jose over there, good informant. I've used him many times before. No police officer ever made a mistake in this country, according to that statistic. No warrant denied. Go home, do your research, you don't believe me. This is one of the few times Google is your friend. And these are the stats. And by the way, if you're in California, 42% of the warrants are in California. If you're in California, move. If you're in New York, the next biggest, 19%, you already know you should move. Not only do we have crazy warrants, you can't even own a gun here. So anyway, we won't talk about New York. But you're safe. Anyway, those are the stats. Listen, it's funny, I laugh about it, and then not so much. And you shouldn't either. Let's talk about digital news. And I'm giving you all the scary, annoying stuff up front and not going into the tech stuff because hopefully you're going to get more and more freaked out and creeped out at what I'm putting up there, and you'll pay attention to the rest. This is Pew Research, right? Yeah, for some reason we're not getting the top of the slide. But anyway, it's Pew Research, which is an absolutely trustworthy, hugely regarded research firm. And they say more Americans get news online than anywhere else. 50% of Americans, 71% of, 71% of millennials. You can, this is an open analysis on their website. You can go to Pew Research and look at it yourself. Political news, 61% online. Where's the Facebook statistic? Is that the next one? 61%. 61% through Facebook. 61% through Facebook. I mean, I just find that astounding. Now, the Wall Street Journal, God bless them, good newspaper, right wing, rah, rah, rah. I'm kidding a little bit, only a little bit. Did a very, very, very clever test. They set up profiles on Facebook, and one profile friended only right-wing guys and girls. I use guys, gender neutral. And the other profile friended only left-wing people. And they went and they put in search terms. They established these profiles. Profile A, clearly left-wing. Profile B, clearly right-wing. All right-wing friends, all right-wing activity. All left-wing friends, all left-wing activity. And they did search terms. Look at the outrageous difference. Facebook feeds you. Facebook's job is not to give you news. Facebook's job is to keep your eyeballs glued to Facebook for as long as they can on as many pages as possible and sell you shit. Okay, I used the word. That's their job, to sell you stuff. They are not there for your betterment or your education. They're there to use your eyeballs to make money. That is the sole reason that Mr. Zuckerberg... What the hell was that? You know, that makes me a little nervous. 10 years ago, last time I heard that, I was being taken out of here. I'm kidding. No cell phones, no radios. Steve is very nervous, very nervous. Okay. So here's the search term, Hillary Clinton. The liberals got rah-rah Hillary Clinton stuff. The conservatives, never Hillary. Hillary is the same as Lucifer. It actually says that. No, it actually says that. Over my little pointer doesn't work, but anyway. So that's Hillary. What's the next one? Oh, crap. Okay, it's cutting. Oh, this is ISIS. This is ISIS. You know, problems with repression, and on the other side, kill them all. No, wait, this is ISIS. What was that? Guns. Same thing. ISIS. Over there, you've got the liberal. Over there, Kerry's not doing anything. Rah, rah, watch a blast on ISIS. Which, frankly, they got me right on that one. Okay, transgender. NBA pulls all-star game out. This powerful ad makes theoretical situation. Go, go. Protect transgender rights. On the other hand, screw transgender rights with an arrow towards Michelle Obama's private parts. I don't even understand that. But anyway, that's what they generated. Depending on who they think you are, they take the news that's already skewed and they skew it further. And you are not being given unvarnished, raw information anymore. And I've got to tell you, for me, this is worse than the attack on your privacy and your anonymity. This is an attack on your ability to intelligently think about any topic. They're pushing you and pushing you and pushing you on what they think your friends want and what they think you want. What if you're a right-wing guy who wants to examine the left-wing side of things? Because not all left-wingers are nuts. Can't do it. Here's somebody who says, and this is for real, I'm banned on Facebook for a month for saying Facebook is censoring conservative values. So they prove it's not true by censoring them. It's amazing. Cable One, here's what I was talking about. This, by the way, if you want to look this stuff up, I have all my sources on all these things, because I hope you're going to look into this after Hope. This is DSL Reports, 27th of May, 2016. What we found, this is the CEO of Cable One talking. What we found is through lifestyle and billing analysis, we could start to pinpoint where churn and bad debt was coming from, and credit scoring started to be a really good test set of the company's system. And if you read the whole article, which I urge you to do at your leisure, if you have a Facebook profile that their analytics says is not wonderful for them, you get less time during customer service. Or if they recognize your phone number, that phone is ringing for an hour. You are on hold listening to music. Now into the nitty-gritty. How this information is gathered on you. I can tell you that as an investigator with any starting point, your telephone number, your name and date of birth, your license plate, the MAC address on a device that you routinely use, I can use that to extrapolate out to your whole life. And it's not because I'm Big Brother or there's a Big Brother out there, it's because Big Marketer is out there. You are worth money. Your eyeballs are worth money. Your credit card, they want your credit card to be under their control. And this is how it's done. Now, by the way, we are going to talk a little bit about data valence, which is not Big Marketer. It is sort of Big Brother. But data valence, today more than ever, are private companies who want to know that you're walking past a Chinese restaurant, so your phone can go bing, bing, bing. Hey, Big Wong's 20% off, make a left. And if you go in and you let them scan that coupon, whoever served you that coupon gets a piece of the action. That's why they want to know where you are and what you're doing and whether you like Chinese food and how often you eat Chinese food, and that it's been 3 weeks since you had Chinese food and you're probably jonesing for it, and you're walking past the Chinese restaurant that they have as a client. That's how it works. With any one piece of information, I can get your name, your address, your date of birth, your SSN, your family, your friends, marriage, divorce, photographs, sexual orientation. Sexual orientation is a way that people sell you stuff. It's not that people really care if you're gay or straight anymore, but it is a profile indicator. It really is. Hobbies, habits. I mean, you gay people just dress better. We can sell you ties. No, I'm kidding. I'm the only guy here with a tie. So what does that say? Medical history, music, books, TV. I mean, you know all of this. I'm staying nearby in a hotel. When I turned on my cell phone this morning, a thing popped up from T-Mobile. T-Mobile said, you can get 20% off in the hotel restaurant. Download the app. You're not downloading the damn app. Real property, judgments, finances, everything you've purchased, everywhere you've traveled, everywhere you've been, whether it's by car, whether it's by foot, whether it's by train, plane, whatever, however you've gotten there, unless it's a teleportation device, there's a record of it. And your physical location 24/7, 365. Now listen, I've been giving this talk now at Hope. First Hope, I was on a panel that talked about it, and then from the second Hope onward, I've been giving this talk now for 22 years. There are probably people in this room who weren't born when I started talking at Hope about this. And the technologies have expanded so exponentially, too fast to keep up with. For me to cover one single technology comprehensively and tell you everything you need to know on that technology, I would need to do a talk on cameras, I would need to do a talk on databases, I would need to do a talk on data valence. Not doing that. I'm concentrating on enough that you can at least know what's out there. Weapons familiarization. Some of the things I'm not going to be able to cover, Windows 10. Windows 10 is one of the most invasive things out there. It is gathering data on you. It is pigeonholing you. It is something that, listen, Windows, Bill Gates. Bill Gates was the devil when we gave the first Hope Conference. Everybody was talking about Bill Gates and how you couldn't remove Internet Explorer from your desktop and all the information that he was gathering through Windows Media Player. man, just child's play. Just child's play. Nobody really understood that, you were being nibbled to death by ducks. That whatever little bit they got away with then, it was going to be more the next year and more the next year and more the next year. Windows 10, what Windows 10 gathers on you and how they trick you into downloading it, click the X and it downloads and stuff like that. I would have to do a whole 3 hours on Windows 10. Windows 10, bad. That's my summary of Windows 10. It gathers a ton of stuff on you. Maybe a great operating system, I don't know. I've never used it once for a good reason. But it is so invasive, it's outrageous. Cell phones, we're going to talk about cell phones a little bit. Cell phones really deserve their own talk. Can't do it. Other digital device tracking, ditto. GPS improvements, advancements in GPS. GPS now being mated with other motion detectors, so I can tell not only that you're in such and such a building, but what floor you're on. Especially mated with beacons, which we are going to talk about. Data valence, how all of this stuff is being put together and amalgamated and analyzed to build, I can predict reasonably well where most people in this room are going to be next Thursday at 2 o'clock and what they're going to be wearing and who's going to be with them. We're creatures of habit. You all know where you're going to be next Thursday. So does the big machine. It's really that easy. If you're there 5 Thursdays in a row and the system knows you're not on vacation, and if it's a school, they know it's not school break. If you're still receiving your check, they know you haven't been fired from the job. They know where you are. It's that simple. The best source of information. New York has a lot of tattoo parlors. Take advantage of them and tattoo this somewhere you can see it all the time. The best source of information is self-contributed information. If I rubbed a lamp, I love talking about genies. If I rubbed a lamp and a genie appeared and I had a wish, I can have all the government information on everybody, CIA, NSA, FBI, NYPD, Department of Environmental Protection, whatever, all the governmental information or all the private information, it would take me less than a second to think about it. All the private information. Unless you are a mob member or an Al-Qaeda member, the US government doesn't have much interesting on you until you really come to their attention, until you tick them off. Then what do? They go to the open sources, and they get it from Facebook, and they get it from Google, and they get it from Twitter, and Instagram, and Snapchat, and everywhere you've put your photo and your stupid check-ins. I mean, do you really need to be, hey, Mom, I'm the mayor of Acavoli's Pizza. When you think about what you're doing, it's like, oh man, I'm a moron. Check-ins are incomprehensible to me. I'm an old guy, I don't get a lot of this stuff, but check-ins I will never understand. And Adam is checking in, isn't he?
No, just checking Facebook.
Oh yeah, there you are. I don't know what he's doing. One of our guys, watch out for him. If you're a cheating husband, get a good look at him. He's a private investigator. Actually, he doesn't do that. He's the guy towing away your car. He and I have robbed a bunch of cars together. Okay, look. The best source of information for investigators, for cops, for anyone who wants to know about you, and I say this as a guy who teaches an open source intelligence course to law enforcement and PIs, is always self-contributed information. You're putting it out there. Thank you. You're giving it up. And you're giving up in a way that you have no control over it, and I can get at it. All of these companies sell your data and your information. And by the way, I could have a list 40 slides long, but I'm just putting the obvious ones up there. They sell your information to anybody who will pay the money. Anybody. And they sell it to private databases that service investigators, that service law enforcement. US government, if your information isn't sold somewhere, it doesn't matter. The US government is out there grabbing and screen scraping and pulling stuff down from everywhere. And pretty much they don't have to, because Google has something called Google Government Services. And Facebook has the same. In fact, I can tell you that there is a 3-letter entity that has a representative, law enforcement representative from their agency sitting in the Facebook headquarters to expedite things. It's a fact. I know the guy. When we first talked about it, when Snowden first talked about it, they scrubbed all their pages. Apparently, Google doesn't know there's such a thing as a Google archive search, which is where I got that stuff and this. Seriously. They're back up now. They realized it's moronic. They can't hide that they're selling to the government. Every large social networking entity sells to the government. The NSA intercepts millions and millions and millions of records every day. Not because I say so, but because the NSA says so. Even if Google doesn't sell it, even if it's on a closed platform, it's not a closed platform for the NSA. Now, there's a guy who didn't believe I was going to do this. This is for the Canadian guy. We have a Canadian film company filming today. Let me tell you, everything we're discussing today applies in Canada also. This is all stuff that's cross-border. Facebook, Google, there's a google.ca that if I want to target a guy in Canada, I can do it even more efficiently by going to the Google Canada site. All of this is cross-border. And by the way, your law enforcement agencies, even though the privacy laws in Canada are much, much better, they suck much, much worse when it comes to law enforcement. Law enforcement can get a lot of stuff Americans can't get. And by the way, this must be true because you can see I put a little moose on it and a beaver, and I said, sorry. So, but it really is true. It really is true. The guys backstage, he said, are you going to really put up something? Yes, I am. Okay, so now very quickly. Here's how it used to be done. When I started as a PI, let's say you started with a phone number. You could get a name and an address. From that, date of birth, social security number. From that, past addresses, family, mother's maiden name, POE, business, corporations, real property, marriage, divorce, voter registration, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on, and so on. All of that, it was called building an inverted pyramid. You would start with one thing, and you would pull in everything. This shouldn't be news to anybody, but that's how it used to be done. Now, forget about it, A to Z. You put in a phone number, I get all of that as part of one big report. You use something like Telegorilla, you put in a phone number, I get the social security number, the date of birth, all the addresses, everything. At maximum, I have to press one more button and get a comprehensive report. By the way, $12 for your life. So what's changed in the past 15 years? First of all, obviously, a lot of this is but people don't think about it. Computing power and speed. Storage. Listen, when I started an online service, I owned peoplefinder.net. When I started an online service, with the help of some of the people I met at Hope, and let me add, by the way, I'm going to pause for commercial interruption. We are currently in my company recruiting programmers, app writers for both Apple and Android. We need people who are good with APIs, people who are good with PHP. My current tech guys are overwhelmed. We're expanding. Anybody looking for a job and is not going to horrify me when I background check them? And as you can see, I can background check them. Seriously, I'm hiring. Come and talk to me after the talk. I really am. Commercial's over. Storage costs. When I started peoplefinder.net, we had what was then considered unbelievable, 100 megabyte drive. Unbelievable, 100 megabyte drive. You can go to Office Extravaganza, or whatever the hell it's called, and you can buy a 5 terabyte Western Digital drive for $109. 5 terabytes. Unthinkable. Not even the FBI or the CIA had 5 terabytes in their system. Now it's routine. Costs are so low, especially in bulk, you never throw anything away. Very, very important. Nothing is thrown away. You do something today, don't think it's going to be gone in 20 years. Be right where it was. Everything is digital from the point of inception. You buy gas. You don't use a token in the subway anymore. You use a Metro card. You drive down the road. You don't stop and throw coins into the hopper. And if you do, by the way, the ALPR cameras gets your license plate anyway. Everything you do is digital from the point of inception, and it goes into databases. OCR sucks in old documents. 100 years of phone books. A couple of guys were at British Telecom headquarters. They were bored for the weekend. They tore the covers off 100 years of phone books. They fed them into a $400 Fujitsu scan snap, and they OCR'd them. And Monday, there were 100 years of phone books up on the BT website. That's how easy it is. All the old paper files, they're getting thrown into data. I mean, the best, Library of Congress, I was able to find the source of Charlie Chan's name, which, by the way, we're revealing on Facebook this week. I was able to do that because Library of Congress has been I always want to say digitizing. They have been digitizing newspapers for years and years and years, and I was able to get the final piece of primary source evidence I needed. Cell phones. Cell phones are key. You are tagged like a moose because of your cell phone. 78% of people with cell phones never turn them off. And the cell phone is never more, I mean, you go into the bathroom, you take the cell phone. You go into the shower, you put it on the sink. That cell phone is always within reach. I mean, the president may call, right? Can't turn it off. You got to have it nearby. So I know where you are and what you're doing 24/7. And the cell phone, for more than half the people in this room, is your primary computing device. So because I know that's your cell phone and I see what you're doing on it, I know all. Everything is cross-referenced. Everything is analyzed. Oh, the hard disk you've been waiting for, 10 megabytes, $3,400. If you don't believe me, things have changed. Linking together off-the-shelf machinery, you have things that are on the level now of what a Cray supercomputer used to do. There's a guy who came out of a bar in Georgetown in D.C., and he got mugged. Yeah, he was drunk, he mouthed off to somebody, got the crap kicked out of him. He's a nerd. What did he do? He didn't go out and take karate lessons. He went and he grabbed all the GPS locations of every bar that he might potentially go to, and he got the uniform crime reports and the Washington, D.C. Police Department reports. He put it together. He figured out which bars had no assaults near them. He put up a website called Stumbling Safely, which is a hilarious title. And now he knows where to drink without getting his ass kicked, because he's a nerd. You couldn't even dream of this 10 years ago. GPS. Supplemental GPS and location data like Skyhook and iBeacon and NFC. Indexing and searching on unusual, unthought of means. Voice, video, film. Snapchat is now making a fortune determining through visual recognition, do you have a Coke in your hand? Are you shooting? Are you wearing a certain type of tie? Are you showing a certain type of bag? Are you posing in front of a Ford? And analyzing what you consume and what you do and building a profile and saying, hey, here's a guy who drives a Ford. You might want to sell him a new F-150. By the way, good vehicle. Cameras. We're going to talk about cameras. I need to hurry up. We're going to talk about cameras very, very soon. I'm actually taking that out of order because cameras are an incredible representative technology for what's happened and how it's unfortunately able to be used for pigeonholing and tracking everyone. The other hand, after you've tattooed self-contributed data, on one hand, on the other hand, tattooed data is worth money. That is the motivating factor for almost everything I'm talking about today. Yes, the US government wants to know everything about you. They want to be able to pigeonhole you. They want to be able to put their finger on you anytime they want to. But the truth is, unless you're John Gotti or an Al-Qaeda member or a Daesh member, they don't really care about you. They have the data, they're never going to look at it. Marketers, Facebook, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, all the other people, Axiom, which you've probably never heard of, Info USA, which you've probably never heard of, they're making billions of dollars off of knowing about you. Nothing goes away. Every stupid post you put up there, every outrageous opinion, every drunken Cancun photo, every stupid thing you put up there, it's there forever. Forever. And if it's like that, it's in my presentation forever. I've been using that for like 12 years. But if you don't post, if you're a numbskull, you can count on your best friend putting it up there. Guaranteed. Do you see what this idiot did? Facebook. If you don't post, your friends will. I mean, come on. That's a real photo. There's no Photoshop. These are real photos. By the way, I was given a talk in California to a cybersecurity talk and computer crime investigators, and a guy came up to me and he says, the guy in the bunny suit, we use this also. He's a lawyer. He graduated law school. He got drunk. He fell over a rope. He was so drunk he fell asleep. They took the picture of him. For the first 2 years he was practicing, the opposing counsel would put that picture on his table to try to unnerve him. So just so you know, this stuff never disappears. And now it's being monetized where you're being encouraged, and there's no polite way to say this, to talk, no, there is a polite way, to talk smack about people you know. This is the most horrible, horrible thing I've ever seen. The woman that is running this should be burnt, pitchforks, torches, dogs, mobs, horrible. This is Yelp for people. That's how she's describing it. Yelp for people. You got to look, if you think I'm making this up, just look it up. This is going to be a thing a year from now. 2 years from now, I'm going to be talking about the people that committed homicide off of one of these profiles. Look at the ratings. Now, by the way, this is an example. She has an 11. She has an 11. So a professional rating is 7. A personal rating is 4. Her dating rating is 0. How'd you like to be this woman? This is horrible. This is the new normal. Yelp for people. This is bleh. I don't even have words for how disgusting this is. Yeah, I do, but they're doing a film and they're Canadians, so they'll use it. Anyway. The idea of Google and Facebook is they don't want you to leave their site. If you look at a page on Facebook, you're looking at it from inside a Facebook browser. If you are going somewhere that's not Facebook, chances are very good there's a like button there. And when you link, Facebook is identified, when you click that button and link to Facebook with that like, they're looking at that browser, they're looking at that computer, they're looking at your cookies, they know it's Bob. So it's more information about Bob. It's called colonization of the internet. It's like right before World War I, you had the British sphere of influence, you had the Germans, you had the Americans down in South and Central America. Everybody had their sphere of influence. That's what the internet is trying to do now. Super accurate profiling of persons and, more important, of devices. We're going to talk about de-anonymization. Effective and routine de-anonymization. Computers working 24/7 to know that's Bob's phone, that's Bob's browser, that's Bob's iPad. There are, of the two most important changes, this is a tie for first. Everything is a computer now. Your thermostat is a computer. Your milk jug is a computer. We're going to be talking about this. Your oven is a computer. Your light bulb is a computer. Why are they so crazy to make light bulbs? Wi-Fi enabled light bulbs. Two reasons. Number one, a lot of people want to be able to use the smart home where they can remotely turn lights on and off in a house, or have them going on and off remotely for security purposes. But also, Because every room has a light bulb. The mothership knows Bob's home, he's in that room. Bob's watching TV. It's a smart TV. Let's feed Bob the ads we know he's interested in. It's really getting to that point. Bob's in bed. Let's not bother Bob with anything. Let's go, oh, wait, his kids are in the den. Let's go look at them. Every room has a light bulb. Every Wi-Fi enabled light bulb is a little spy in every room of your house. If you think I'm exaggerating, come back to hope number 12 and tell me that, because everybody will be screwed by then. The number one change, the thing that is affecting everything I'm talking about today more than anything is changes in attitude towards privacy. I say this every time I give this talk, everywhere I give this talk. When I was a kid, there was a saying, damn, I wouldn't have told that. There are things you just didn't say. You didn't talk about it. There is no red line anymore. You use drugs, talk about it. You've been arrested, talk about it. Terrible death in the family, post about it. Whatever it is, there's no red lines. People do it without thinking. They think this is how they're sharing with friends. First of all, there's a limit now, unless you have a fan page, which I found out about because of my TV show. You can have a maximum of 5,000 Facebook friends. How is that even an issue? Who has 5,000 friends? I don't even think I have 5 friends, and I don't want to talk to any of them. I mean, 5, you're sharing with thousands of people, you have no idea who they are. Truthfully, they couldn't care a damn about you. 30 of them are probably hookers trying to, you know. Why are all these people that are trying to friend me, they have no friends of their own, and they're in lingerie? You know, what are they trying to sell me? Anyway, personal attitudes towards privacy. This is the number one change. Listen, let's talk honestly. 150 million pictures are added to Instagram every year with the tag selfie. 100, as an investigator, thank you. You know what it cost me to get your driver's license photo? How I got to track down a contact and pay him $500? Thank you. The EFF, which I understand is participating in this conference. The EFF, they're all aflutter. The FBI has hundreds of millions of face recognition photos on you in their database. Oh my gosh, first of all, it all comes from driver's license and mug shots. And if you think that stuff is confidential, you're insane. It's actually 411 million photos. The FBI has 411 million photos, derived legitimately from obvious sources. Okay, the FBI has 411 million photos. Giving them the benefit of the doubt, which I rarely do because of my personal experiences with them, but the FBI for the most part is decent men and women. The bad ones are really bad, really, really bad. But the majority of them are decent and really trying to do a good thing. It pains me to have to say that, but it's true. So they have 411 million photos that they're doing presumably for crime fighting and for going after the people in this room. In 2013, Facebook users are uploading 350 new photos a day. You give this twerp Zuckerberg every day more photos than the FBI has. 2014, 1.8 billion. You know, I'm like the guy with the little finger. Billion photos. 657 billion photos a year. The EFF is really whining about the FBI has 411 million photos. The EFF, listen, needs to really reorient. The enemy is not the FBI. The enemy, the real enemy, if you want to talk in terms of enemy, is Facebook and Google. First of all, FBI is using it for presumably very important and legitimate reasons. Facebook, they want to sell you pictures of a cat typing on a keyboard. I mean, Facebook. You're giving things to Facebook that you're agonizing that the FBI has them. Last year, 2015, from Mobile Eats the World, Facebook said in May 2015 that 2 billion photos are shared on its systems every day. 2 billion photos a day. Add that to WhatsApp, add that to Instagram, add that to Snapchat, add that to Twitter, and the estimated figure is 5.2 billion photos a day. 5.2 billion photos a day. And you're whining about the FBI has your driver's license photo? Honestly, I don't understand that. Okay, you see the tiny, let's see, all right, this damn thing doesn't work. Tiny, tiny, tiny little dot in the corner. That's all the photos in the Library of Congress. Next largest square, that's all the photos in Instagram. Next largest square, which is still 5%, all the photos in Flickr. Giant, all-encompassing square, photos in Facebook. Compared to Facebook, the Library of Congress is a little dot. Our national repository. 250 years of art and photo. Facebook squashes them like a bug. Not even a bug, you can't see it. So just to focus the point I'm trying to make, which you may or may not agree with, FBI has 411 million photos from your driver's license, from mugshots, and people are up in arms about it. The EFF is raising millions of dollars on it. Facebook has over 1 trillion photos in-house of everybody in this room. Nobody cares. Oversharing. Oversharing is the problem. I don't know how many people have seen this slide. I use this every time I give this talk. Here's a guy, Dylan. I don't even have to surveil this guy. I just watch his Twitter feed. 23 hours ago, roaming the streets with Mike, Tyler, Lindy, Sarah, etc. 21 hours ago, watching Malibu's Most Wanted, waiting for that 70s show to come on. 21 hours ago, holy effing crap, I got my bumpers to glow. 13 hours ago, just woke up. 13 hours ago, listening to XM. 8 hours ago, getting ready to go for work, to work. 7 hours ago, going to Avicoli's for pizza. There's Avicoli's again. 6 hours ago, at work, oh well. 30 minutes ago, just got out of work. Why? Why? My own mother doesn't want to know that much information on me. Why? This is routine. People do it without thinking. Nobody looks at it all in a row. Twitter's very, very smart. This is from a feed. Nobody looks at this all in a row. They look at an individual tweet, they go, oh, that's not so bad. That's not so bad. That's not so bad. After you've tweeted 15,000, 20,000 times, which a lot of people in this room have, I own you. I know everything you've done, everywhere you go, everybody you do it with. Idiots. My voicemail password at work and the end of my zip code about 613. You know, if Hope had a wall of sheep, meh. Mike Hurley, escaped from the cops twice during Hurricane Irene. Not the third time you didn't, Mike. This one, not so funny. Haha, dude, what a rush. Laughing my ass off. I've never stabbed a cop before. He said, please don't, I have a daughter. This is for real. This is during the London riots. Tweeting about it, tweeting about stabbing police. There's no filter anymore. Albert Brooks, where's my Canadian? I put this up here just for you. Off to the Toronto Film Festival. Haven't been through customs in a long time. I hope meth is no longer an issue. Okay, yeah, Albert Brooks is a comedian. I guarantee you somebody was snapping on a rubber glove. And by the way, this is what you transmit when you tweet. I get your location, I get your identity, I get everything about you. You're going to see location data stuff in here. If I want, I have a way to go into Twitter through their API and get everybody who's tweeting from this location, who has location services turned on, which is going to be more than half the room. I can do the same thing for Google Earth. Something really interesting over there? All right, be quiet. I'm from Brooklyn. I just, I tell you. Okay. Here's a different attitude towards privacy. I just made love. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I have a wonderful evening. First thing I do is roll for my iPhone and open the app. Yeah. I don't understand it. But I will tell you one thing. If you go to the map, if you get the app, do it just for this and then delete it, because you'll see I'm not joking. Like 50% of the locations are parking lots that they tweet from. Low rent people are using this. Probably another 20% trailer parks, but we won't go there. If you want to know how much people are willing to share, I bring to your attention PMS Buddy. The purpose of PMS Buddy is to alert your friends and family when maybe they should leave you alone for 5 to 7 days. The thing that creeped me out the most, look at the little thing in the corner. Now interactive with Facebook. You look at the person's Facebook page, I'm not calling her. All right. So the end result, now let's talk about some case studies, and it's 6:15. Amazingly enough, I'm on schedule. Troll versus troll. There was one of these communication amalgamation crapola things that always roll out like once a month. We're going to bring in all your phone calls, all your tweets, all your Facebook messages, all your emails, all your text messages in one place, so you don't have to check them in all these places. So somebody, what the hell was it called? Not even important for the story. Whatever it was called, somebody posted, and somebody said, this is really bad. It's going to allow people to have all your communication in one place. So the guy says, yeah, knucklehead, the Luddite mentality continually evolves. Only a couple of short decades ago, they were grousing about sending letters instead of their newfangled electronic mail, blah, blah, blah. Basically saying, what are you complaining about? So the Luddite responds, and I love this. Some of this is blanked out. I agree with you, don't know me. Does that make me a Luddite? By simply using your profile picture, I could find out way too much about you. Your name is so-and-so. You live in Portland, Oregon. You're pretty shit at triathlons. And last year, you humiliated yourself by coming in 152nd. Something I'm sure your mom, name here, wouldn't be proud to talk about in her weekly gossip circles. She prefers to think about the days when she lived in Glendale or Pasadena, instead of wasting time on her short-sighted son. At least you managed to trick poor blank into marrying you, eh? By the way, you should tell her to update her blog at such and such a location. Mind you, it's not all funs and games with a wife, especially when you have to help her through the loss of her father. That was kind of rude. After a 6-month battle with pancreatic cancer, and he goes on for like 5 pages, just putting the guy's life out there. He docks this guy to death. This is the way it is now. Self-contributed data. He didn't go into NCIC or, where's the moose guy, into CPIC or anything like that. This is all open source intelligence, all of it. All of it. Troll versus troll. Now, here's a not funny example. Very not funny. What happens when people don't think? And I want to preface this by saying that LinkedIn is the spawn of the devil. If you use LinkedIn, come and talk to me. I'll get you into a 10-step class or something. LinkedIn, bad. LinkedIn, bad. LinkedIn on a machine running Windows 10, very bad. Maybe we can keep adding to this during the talk. Anyway, New York Times ran an article about a guy by the name of Trevor Tassin, great guy, a real patriot, served his whole life in the military, enrolled when he was a kid. He was the boss of Al-Aram Air Force Base at one point. I'm sorry, I said Army, I meant Air Force. And he was the drone boss. He was the guy today when an Al-Qaeda member or a Daesh member or a terrorist gets killed, It's not by SEAL Team 6 going out and shooting the guy. It's a drone appears, nobody even knows it's there, little missile is fired, car blows up, drone flies home. That's the war today. I'm not going to discuss right, wrong, good target, bad target. If you assume that in general Al-Qaeda and Daesh are bad guys, which I frankly assume, then them getting a missile up their butt is not necessarily a bad thing. This was the boss. This was the boss. And they wrote an article in the New York Times, without thinking, last year. As stress drives off drone operators, Air Force must cut flights. But as part of the article, they put up a profile about Trevor Tassin. They gave his name. They showed his 3 kids, 11, 13, and 2. And they put enough information up there that I knew that it would take me 30 seconds to own this guy. And the guy is actually, I've got a home and an office here. I got a home and an office down in Texas. I'd actually heard his name and I thought, oh boy, this guy's probably my neighbor. And in fact, he only lives about 40 minutes from me, it turned out. So what did I do? I did facial recognition. For some reason, when you did Trevor Tassin on LinkedIn, it didn't come up. And I got his facial recognition. I got all of his history, clicking on these one after another. First of all, I got his LinkedIn page. If I wasn't sure I found the right Trevor Tassin, my interview with the New York Times. Okay, found the right guy. I've already found where he works, Air Force, where he went to school. Next page. I got his life. Before his current job, he's Director of Operations, Al Assad Air Force Base. Operations Manager, UAV, it's a drone pilot. Operations Director, UAV Operations for the Air Force. I hate this. I don't even understand this. But his top skills, military command, UAV, intelligence, military weapons, aircraft, top secret, security clearance, military experience. Listen, if you've been living in the Unabomber's cabin, you don't know this, but everybody else knows that right now military and law enforcement and governmental employees are being targeted. Not just targeted for murder. Everywhere in the world. Cops are being shot. Daesh is putting out hit lists of military people. It's not a joke anymore. It's not entertainment. And this guy is the boss of the unit that's killing more of the bad guys than anybody. This guy is target number 1. He is by any metric, their number 1 target. I've already identified him. And now I know where he's working. He's working for JMJ Home Inspections in the San Antonio area. So I go and I scroll down, and in his LinkedIn page, so far I haven't even left LinkedIn. I have his email address, which I can, of course, as most of you know, use to get all of his other information on the net. Your email address is your social security number on the internet. Phone number, Texas Real Estate Commission license, public record, pull up the license, get everything on the guy. I have that he's a coach at the Little League in New Braunfels. And what does Trevor care about? Kids. Kids at the New Braunfels Little League. Think that might be interesting to people who blow up kids? So I keep looking. I find digital newspapers listing his whole family, listing all of his relatives, his wife, his wife's relatives, when they got married, where he was stationed before, that he has a daughter. I later found out he has a daughter and a bunch of other kids. I have where he goes to work every day. By the way, I could have clicked on that and made an appointment with him if I was a Daesh guy, and he would have come to where I wanted him. Sort of like Pokemon. I have his website. I go and I do a reverse, well, okay, we don't have that yet. I've got his web page. By the way, photos that he posts, people that he's interacting with daily. And by the way, in case I don't recognize him, he's holding a drone. No, he's holding a drone. There he is with the drone. I do a Whois search. I have an address on him. He's using his home address as his Whois address. Okay? I go to White Pages. I have his wife's name and age. Scroll down. If it's not enough, I have his home address. Oh, great. Here's a map to his house. I don't know, Ahmed, if we can find this place. No, Mohammed. You turn right from 337 on Tolanda, then you make another right on Live Oak. I mean, come on. Right there. I get his property taxes. I know what his house is worth. More information. All of his kids, their married names. Zoom info, great for stuff like this. It's free. In less than 10 minutes of open source intelligence, a guy who is arguably a top Daesh, top Al-Qaeda target, top target of all the Looney Tunes who say, I'm a 21-year-old maniac, I got nothing much going on in my life, I'm going to pledge allegiance to Daesh and I'm going to go out and shoot the place up. It's happened 3 times in the past month. It's not, hypothetical anymore in this country. I have his name, his home address, his telephone, his email, his employment, his spouse, his children, his associates, more photos than his activities. No investigative databases, no tricky PI stuff. I do plenty of tricky PI stuff. Not necessary. And it's not necessary for most of you guys either. Won't even mess with that one. We're going to go into a technology that's representative now of a lot of what's going on. It's not just cameras anymore. It's increased range, increased effectiveness of cameras, and everything that you can do with a photo or a movie once somebody takes a photo. Basic facial recognition. If you upload a photo of you and 3 people now to Facebook, and those people are in your friend list, Facebook will automatically, the minute they put it on your Facebook page, they'll say, should we notify Sarah, Joe, and Bobby that they're tagged in this photo? It's unbelievable. This is a generation-leaping technology. 1 to 2 billion photos a day on Facebook. 3 billion, it's actually 5.2 billion. This is an old slide. Posted online every day. Many of those photos posted by, I'm sorry, there's no other word. Idiots. Idiots. Why are you posting a photo of yourself eating a slice of pizza? Nobody ever saw you eat pizza before? Many of these photos are posted by your friends, by your family, and you're tagged in them. You know all the sources. There's thousands of them. I was too quick for you, wasn't I? Guy's trying to take a picture every slide. Yeah, go ahead, try to get it. You couldn't get it, could you? Okay, sometimes, go ahead. I don't know why you're doing this. You can go and get a DVD for $3 at All Talk. Who has the $3? If you can program, come to me for one of those jobs. And if you can't program, why are you here? Anyway, no, I'm kidding. Okay, the intel you can get from any photo is unbelievable. This guy was declaring bankruptcy. For those of you who don't know, this is 50 Cent, or as the cool kids say, 50 Cent. And I'm not one of the cool kids, believe me. He says he has no money, he's broke, he can't pay his bills. And then he spells out broke with stacks of $100 bills. By the way, if you Google 50 Cent broke photo, hilarious. He's talking about it was phony money, I Xeroxed $100 bill, and then somebody right below, if you look in the Google line, it says, yeah, then how come he could pay all the hookers with $100 bills? Strippers with $100 bills. I mean, sometimes photos are intel all by themselves. And it's not just photos. By the way, one of the most insidious things now, and Pokemon is a phenomenal example of this, is gathering data on people from birth. From birth. These are photos of people who don't have driver's license photos. If they get arrested, they're not going to have a mug shot. These are kids. And you can go and get kids' photos and kids' data and kids' whereabouts now. Here's an example that I use when I teach for law enforcement. This is a guy who was undercover with the FBI for 26 years. Big Jack Garcia, Joaquin Garcia, incredible law enforcement guy. 24 years undercover. His last undercover was with the Gambino family. He was so good at it. They actually offered to make him a made man. The FBI thought about it and said, yeah, maybe not, Jack. They pulled him out and they arrested everybody. And all the guys that he was under with and gathered information as a mob guy all went to jail. All the Gambino guys that went to jail because of him. I can understand why they didn't think he was a mob guy. He's 6'5", 340 pounds. He told me, he said he's the only guy that the FBI ever declared cannolis to be a work-related disability. So he went out with these guys and he told me all we ever did was eat. We ate like 7 times a day. So he was a football player in college. He was a buff agent. And after 2 years in the Gambinos, he's 340 pounds. So remember, crime does not pay. Anyway. What did I do? We were teaching a class on undercover investigation. And I said, Jack, you could never do this today. The internet without you. Yeah, I could do it. Nobody figured out I was they all thought I was a mob guy. He talks like that too. So I took that photo from the New York Daily News, and I put it into Google image search. And I clicked on it. It's the first thing that comes up. Jack Garcia, FBI agent. Listen, your whole life is indexed even by photo. Tin Eye's another one. 50 states now use facial recognition. Police departments now have bat phones that you can go around with, take a snap of somebody. If they're already on an iris scan program, it'll scan your iris. California, there's 433,000 irises already scanned. I think San Mateo Police Department is leading the league. But facial recognition also. If you've had a mugshot, and they the typical thing, don't smile. I'll show you don't smile in a second. State Department, when you apply for a passport, does a facial recognition scan, and they've caught thousands and thousands of people who've had their passports taken away because they don't pay child support or they're felons or whatever, and charged them again. They're used for identifying pot smokers at colleges. They run them through. This is a great story. When they were implementing it in Massachusetts, a couple of geeks up late at night, they said, hey, we just implemented this facial recognition. Let's run all our driver's license database against America's Most Wanted. They got a hit. They grabbed the guy. DMV is post-public acceptance of biometrics because they treat you like an animal, like you're a Gumby. Stand this way, put your arm, look at don't smile. Okay. What they do is they habituate you to people using your pictures and making you pose. Anybody know about this? This is a guy, speaking personally, if you get arrested, smile in your mugshot. Smile in your mugshot. Let people know it's bullshit. Telling you that from experience. This guy in Texas, where the police don't have a big sense of humor, he tried to smile in his booking photo. See those 2 arms there? Because the camera kept shooting? They said, stop smiling. He says, I always smile. I always smile for photos. So they started choking him. That's the photo. We're telling you, don't smile. And the reason for that is simple, use of biometrics. If you're smiling, it skews some things. Not everything, but something. That was the whole purpose of that. It's not just like, oh, this crook is smiling, we're going to choke him. No. They had better reasons. So does it work real world? People being arrested from biometrics, more people being arrested for biometrics. The Russians. I am smart KGB guy. Nobody will recognize our troops in Ukraine. Yeah? Well, AFP, Agency France Presse, smarter than the KGB. Or actually now it's the FSB. I'm an old guy, I say KGB. Special Forces troops, Russian Special Forces troops were sent into Georgia in 2008. AFP had photos of them. AFP took photos of the Special Forces troops, suspected Special Forces troops that were sent into Ukraine, compared them, outed the Special Forces troops in the Ukraine, even when they were wearing masks, by unique types of weapons, unique apparel on each one. So then Putin, he's like Gru in that movie. He says, okay, Special Forces troops. Fraudsters, I can tell you I use facial recognition. I have my own facial recognition engine in my office, and we're building it every day, scraping and grabbing. Poor woman by the name of Angie Stanton, she got bamboozled by a guy who was pretending to be a soldier deployed to Afghanistan. He suckered her out of a few $1,000. After a couple of $1,000, she realized maybe it was bogus. She contacted me. Just on the photos of his Facebook page, some of them were very unique, like that one right there in the corner with the tongue and the face. We were able to identify him to other Facebook pages. Grabbed the guy, outed him, saved her a lot of money, caught a bad guy, just from facial recognition. A bunch of examples I could give. The best operational guys in the world, the Mossad, they found out that a Hamas money guy was in Dubai buying arms. They sent 23 of their guys there to kill him. How do I know that? Because Dubai cops figured out he was killed, took all the cameras in the hotel, did facial recognition against passports, and identified all 23 people in the Mossad hit team. These guys are all blown. And I can tell you that I've been over at the NSA, I've been over at the CIA, and it is actually a thing to talk about disposable agents when they go overseas. Not disposable in the sense that they're going to get whacked or, Jason Bourne or something like that. But you use an agent once, that's it. You can't use them again because of biometrics and facial identification and all the other stuff. It's becoming a real topic of discussion now. When I went after deadbeat dads, just matched them against Facebook and MySpace. Here's the deadbeat dad photo. There's the social networking photo. Texas sex offender, that versus that, that versus that. This was the easiest one. This guy used his mugshot as his MySpace photo. No fooling, no fooling. And I'm happy to say he had exactly one friend, which is more than a pedophile should have. Anyway, famous photo, and this is the last example I'm going to give you before we get really creepy. Famous photo, White House Situation Room, everybody waiting to find out if SEAL Team 6 had gotten Osama bin Laden. So the next day, the AP, God bless their muckraking little hearts, hidden from view, standing just outside the frame of that now famous photo, was a career CIA analyst. In the hunt for the world's most wanted terrorist, there may have been no one more important. His job for nearly a decade was finding the Al-Qaeda leader. And this was, they named him CIA John. So of course the hive mind of the internet says, we got to identify this guy. So they went out on Reddit and on 4chan and 8chan and 12chan and everywhere else. And everybody was looking for this guy. They identified, you see the arrow there? Very tall, you can tell how tall he is from the photo. Black suit, yellow tie. Tall, black suit, yellow tie. So somebody was smart enough to go to all the other photos for the day from the CIA and the White House press office. Look all the way in the back. See that guy? CIA John. Look, and this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen, even from my government. Look at the photo taken from the other angle in the White House briefing room. There he is in the back. Incredible. So they identified him. They matched him to a high school yearbook that was already online. They got him playing basketball. That's it. Now, I don't want you to think this is only the CIA. It's also KGB or FSB. This is the graduating class, the last graduating class 3 weeks ago of the FSB. Hey, party, we're agents. We are very cool guys, We are FSB now. So let me just say, in Russia, photo shoots you. All these guys are in deep, deep trouble. I mean, if you look on the hanging around with too many Germans. Stefan, you got to leave. If you look on the Russian language papers, you have like lieutenant colonel, colonel generals and ministers and whatever saying, this is outrageous, weren't these people trained better, we need to... So these guys are in big trouble. Now listen, you think you wear a disguise? No. 5% of your face is enough for preliminary biometric identification, and the smaller the sample, the more likely. You know, and that applies, by the way, to everything I'm talking about today. The more unique data points, the more likely I've identified you. If I'm looking for a 6'9" Malaysian tap dancer in Boise, Idaho, there's one of you. I got you. The smaller the sample, the better. Photos that are terrible, you can now post-shooting. You can focus after you've shot the photo. You can enhance after you've got the photo. Any of those areas are good enough. Here's the Facebook tagging thing. Send this photo to Jen, Jillian, Lindsay, and Elena. That's a Facebook thing. Creepy. Google Glass. Who really thought that there'd be so many of these glass holes walking around and filming? But people are using this now. This is a thing. Processing of photos, persistent surveillance on any one target they want. Analysis of video. Car came in, turned, moving at a high rate of speed, hit another car. All of that's done without any human being ever looking at it. Analysis. You use your Google apps. Oh, what painting is that? Oh, that's Botticelli, Butterbunny, whatever. Okay, now Google knows where you're standing and what you were looking at. DARPA, this is a thing. The military R&D unit now has something that they call ALPR for faces. They have a database. You're talking to the mothership that's long-range Wi-Fi enabled. There's a base that's traveling with you. Goes back to the mothership. You're walking down the street. A wanted guy's walking down the street the other way. He's yours. ALPR for faces. This is this area of Manhattan. 1998, there were 129 cameras a square mile. 2003, 396. 2008, we were up to 1,214. Today, it's over 3,000 cameras. You are filmed 11 times on every block in Midtown. Every block, 11 times. Don't go outside. London, 1967, no cameras. All the way from 67 to 96, 500 cameras in London. There's 500,000 now. 2008, the chief of security or whatever for whoever Sir Chris Fox is, one of their security poobahs, 4.2 million community safety cameras. It's up to almost 5 million now. By the way, the technology typically for surveillance, for the type of stuff we're talking about, developed in Israel, implemented in the UK. They are at the lead of everything. They were the first people to use DNA, first people to use ALPR, first people to really use all pervasive cameras, first people to use facial recognition. The Brits use it. And then Americans, because we're smart, and we know you never buy 1.0, you wait till 2.0 or 3.0. Soon as the Brits have a technology figured out for intelligence or for surveillance, we grab it and implement it everywhere. EXIF tags. You don't even need EXIF tags now. You scrub them out of your photos, doesn't matter. Every photo has a sensor fingerprint now. This guy got 9 years in jail as a pedophile, possession of child pornography, traced it to him through the sensor fingerprint on his camera. Gigapan. This is from 2008. I'm going to show you the newest stuff. First Gigapan, 2008. Here is a camera that takes a photo that's almost 1,500 megapixels, which means you take one photo of a stadium, you got everybody. You don't believe me? Here's Obama's inauguration, one photo, you zoom in, there you go. From that to that. From that to that and that and that. This is from a live website. You can go play with it yourself all you want. How many people have checked out FanCam if you're a football fan? The Patriots, by the way, Patriots, great team. I love them. They have a bunch of PIs on staff. They use digital surveillance on everybody. They're filming the other guy's playbook, if you remember that. I love the Patriots. They're my kind of guys. So anyway, Anyway, I want you to look in the upper corner of that stadium. See that? This is from FanCam. I just logged on and did this. You can make out every single person's face. That's for every game. That's for every game. This is a commercial technology now. Anybody who wants to can do this. I love this. NFL camera's so good, you can see the Coke in Bruno Mars' nose. And it's true, they are that good. I want you to watch this. Watch carefully. This is a camera you can walk over to B&H tomorrow and buy this camera. This is a Panasonic 70 times optical with like a gazillion digital enhancement. Just watch this. Keep watching. Keep watching. Yeah, it is on a tripod with the control, but they'll zoom in now. Less than $1,000 for this camera and lens. The next one's even worse. All right, you got the idea? Okay, next. Okay, from that to that. Next one. This is amazing. Somebody emailed me this. I couldn't believe it. Wait. Okay, I got to play it out one more time because I didn't believe it myself the first time. This is an example of how technologies are increasing. They are leaping generations. And all of these are technologies that can be easily employed for surveillance. Anyway, you get the point. Canon coming out with a 250 megapixel camera. Here's right where we are. This is the Empire State Building. You can look in anybody's window you want. You don't believe me? Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. That's Queens from the Empire State Building. If there isn't a camera, send a drone, tiny little drone. One day you're going to be under surveillance, you're going to go like that, you just broke a drone. The FBI is going to send you a bill. You think I'm kidding? This is called Cyborg Fly. It's an actual moth that they put a controller in. Don't believe me? Look it up. Devil Ray, the thing never has to refuel. Two cables come out. They lay on a high energy line, sucks up the energy, recharges, pulls the cables back in, flies off. Vampire. In a box, in a briefcase. Drone in a briefcase. There it is being deployed. One from Israel, supposed to look like a butterfly. Flies around, oh, what a cute little butterfly, snap, snap. Commercial drones everywhere, 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 everywhere. That's all weather, all environment drone, night, day, snow, rain, hurricane, never mind. Look at this next one. That's the Harvard RoboBee. That tail is the antenna. That's a quarter. Anybody can go out and buy 4th generation parrot. Guy took his parrot, his cat died. You all internet guys, I got to put a cat up in the presentation at least once. All of these cameras, all of these videos are being mated with activity recognition, smart surveillance, analytics, facial recognition, license plate readers, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's no longer a photo. People take the photo as intel, and they analyze it, and they match it. I mean, the funny thing is, the people who started doing this were in prisons. So they had these unattended cameras, like if somebody was making a break for it. When they started using them for schoolyards, this was the actual ad. There's a kid making a break for it over there. Facial recognition, facial matching, depending on how small the sample is. 36, this is an old slide, 36 million faces a second. I can do the whole United States in less than 10 seconds. Every person. Take a picture, match it against the database. I can identify you in less than 10 seconds. It's a fact. This is Fujitsu from 2012. There's much better now. Much, much, much better. And I've seen it work. And by the way, how do you speed things up? They figured it out. Okay, have an engine that the first thing it does, it separates black from white. Okay, we don't have to check these 100 million photos. Next, male from female. We don't have to check half the population. And before it even runs the sample, it already knows what to run it against. This is so easy to do. They pulled this because of people screaming and yelling. There was an app called Scene Tap. They had cameras in cooperating bars, and you could go and you could say, okay, Zella, 90% full, 58% women, 42% men. Oh, I got a shot then. I'm going there. That's really what the app was for. There were so many people saying, yeah, creepy, yeah. Personally, I think it's, it balances the workload out. It's, anyway. Okay, Russia, where they are watching everything. I need to bring Yuri up here to do this. I'm kidding, don't do it. Just a few weeks ago, like 8-10 weeks ago, a guy took facial recognition engine that he helped develop, and he ran it against Russia's equivalent of Facebook. What did he do? He took pictures of people on the subway, and he compared it to Russia's Facebook. Incredible. You got to go look at the whole study. The Guardian put a whole analysis of it up there. I hate the Guardian, but great article. That's the guy on the subway. There he is on his Russian Facebook thing with the little doggy over there. Next, subway, Russian guy. Here he is with his little bear over there. These are real photos. He really did it. I mean, why a guy would have a bear, I'm not sure. But anyway, the point is to show that the facial recognition works. Okay, so already here, digital contact lenses, gait recognition, biometrics, iris on the fly. As you move, they can get your iris if the conditions are right now. Here's a light bar developed by a Turkish company, which is good, in case they need it for the next coup. It's a light bar for the terrible, like the Reichstag fire, almost. Like, let's pretend there's a coup and let's oppress the whole country. So now you have, from a Turkish company, you have a police light bar, which is already being tested in the US. It has 3 things in it: facial recognition, ALPR camera, and a speed detector camera. It can tell if you're speeding, if you're walking, it can tell who you are, and it's checking every vehicle as it drives. 1, 2, 3 years from now, every urban police department for sure, and probably a lot of small sheriff's departments, every single car will have an ALPR camera. It won't be, okay, New York City has 3,200 vehicles, 600 of them have ALPRs. It'll be every single vehicle, including undercover. And by the way, in New York, it's not just ALPR on cars, it's ALPR in halal carts that aren't halal carts. It's 10 yellow taxi cabs that aren't yellow taxi cabs. That's the actual number, by the way. There are cameras and sensors, and some of them very serious sensors, radioactive detection and biological detection, because New York is #1 target, pretty much. All of that stuff is going to be out there in every police vehicle. But soon, because a light bar is a universal thing on all the marked vehicles, every vehicle will have an ALPR and every vehicle will have facial recognition. And you have to understand, ALPR and facial recognition is mostly not law enforcement. It's private entities. They do a deal with law enforcement. You give us all your photos so that we can sell them to repo guys. Here's a repo guy. You don't believe me? He'll tell you about this company. And I masked their name, but everybody knows who they are, so it's Vigilant. At this point, there's no point in masking their name. Everybody knows who they are. They get photos from all the law enforcement people that cooperate with them, which are pretty much everybody who has an ALPR camera. They give free access to that law enforcement, and then to the rest of the world, including me and him and a bunch of other private industry people, they sell me the location of everywhere your car has been for the past 5 years. I mean, if I want to know your whole life, I can probably extrapolate it from where your car is. It is becoming such a thing that in the UK, if you haven't renewed your insurance, it turns off the gas pump, so you can't fuel your car. You don't have insurance? Sorry, you can't drive the car. It is good, actually. I like that. There's a thing called Bump. It can identify, okay, that's an Amazon guy, that's a Facebook guy, this guy's a Home Depot preferred customer, and they match Bump, the ALPR from Bump, to identify the vehicle with short distance radio transmissions. It beams a commercial. All the FM band, all the AM band, if you have your radio on, it doesn't matter what channel you're tuned to, you're going to listen to their commercial. Pretty clever. Augmented reality, that's what Pokemon is, by the way. You take a picture, and there's a little snuffleupagus or whatever it's called there in the picture. I don't know. I don't play Pokemon. Come on. Anyway, whatever. Pikachu? I don't know. Give me a name. Give me a name of a Pokemon, somebody. Huh? Pikachu is one? Okay. So there's a Pikachu there, peeking at you. So look, for me it's ridiculous, but as an investigator, it's an important thing. I mean, Pokemon is now suddenly wired into so much of what I do, and we're going to talk about that. But we're at the point where you're going to be able to take a picture of a building, and it's going to tell you who is in each apartment, from listed phones, from utilities. Does that person have a criminal record? I'm walking into a building to do a neighborhood canvass. I'm going to be able to go click. Oh, there's a guy who shot a cop on the 3rd floor in the back. The hell is this? Oh, yeah. Okay, this is interesting stuff, actually. Fingerprint reading from a distance. Somebody taking, and by the way, I know a bunch of you guys go to CCC, what is it, Computer Congress, right? Communications, whatever. It's in German, so screw it. But anyway, what's it called? CCC. Yeah, okay.